Cleveland Connection on a Sunday morning here at the Halley Building. I have Chris Garr with me. He's the Director of Program Services at Youth Challenge, but we're talking about something that is celebrating, has it been 25 years, the Americans with Disabilities Act?
That's right, Dave, 25 years.
Wow. And this has really changed a lot, and it's more than just, shaving off the sidewalk so that, a wheelchair or other device can get up. This has changed the country in ways that are really too countless to mention. And it's a celebration that we're doing at Wade Oval for this 25th anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act. Why don't you fill me in and tell me how you got involved and what's going on here, I guess, Chris?
Right. ADA Cleveland, Americans with Disabilities Act. ADA Cleveland is a group of over 20 nonprofits and agencies, public and private, who have gotten together to celebrate the Americans with Disabilities Act. We are having our chief celebration July 22nd, as you said, on Wade Oval in the afternoon between 10:30 and 4 p.m. And what we want to do is we want to make sure that people don't forget the work that was done in 1990 and the way that the ADA has changed people's lives and provided more access for people with disabilities. But probably more importantly, we want people to go forward from July 22nd onward and get excited about kind of renewing that energy and not taking for granted what has been done in the past and continuing the work to help provide greater access for people with disabilities. I got involved because I work with Youth Challenge. We do sports and recreation for children with disabilities all over Greater Cleveland. And we wanted to provide kind of the youth voice for the ADA.
The youth of today, they've never not known the Americans. It's always been around.
For the most part. And it's important that that's not taken for granted. There were people from the last generation who worked very hard for this civil rights legislation. And going forward, we don't want that to be lost on young people who have physical disabilities, developmental disabilities, cognitive disabilities. We want them and the general public to know why the ADA is so important.
It's important that you mentioned this is a civil rights law because it defines the protected class that people with disabilities are, and you cannot discriminate against workplace, out and about, transportation. What was the big impetus that was there like one person, I mean, other than the senators or the congressman who wrote the thing, was there someone who championed it back in the 80s? Or was there one incident, anything specific?
There were a number of groups that really brought the ADA into fruition. We have the 60s and the 70s, and you have the civil rights movement, and people forget the civil rights movement was not just about race, ethnicity, religion, sexual orientation. It was also about people with disabilities, but that tended to be the forgotten part of the civil rights movement. So there were groups of people that, wait a second. What about us? And as you said, now a protected class, but those rights had to be fought for. So one of the really neat things, we have the Legacy Bus coming to Cleveland. The Legacy Bus is a bus that was taken to Washington, D.C. by people with disabilities in one of those chief protests to bring about awareness. And that bus is back in 2015, and it's going to be making a stop in Cleveland on July 22nd.
At Wade Oval, where this celebration is going on. So this is something that probably, you don't need a ticket. You don't need to pay admission.
No, it's all access. We want the public to be there. We want people with disabilities to come out and celebrate. We want the general public to learn, to educate themselves. We're going to have all kinds of displays on assistive technology and adaptive sports and art. And there's going to be some phenomenal agencies representing themselves and the people they serve. So it is a celebration, and the great thing is it's going to piggyback with the Wade Oval Wednesday concert series that evening.
That's a great time.
So we want thousands of people to understand the importance of the ADA.
We'll link up to all the appropriate social media things. They're on Facebook and Twitter, and there's an anniversary page at adacleveland.org. You'll find everything, though, linked at cbscleveland.com/connection. I'm Dave Ramos. This is Cleveland Connection. Chris Garr is here. He's the Director of Program Services at Youth Challenge, but talking today about the Americans with Disabilities Act 25th anniversary celebration, because it really has changed. It's changed our country and made it for the better. Back, I think, was it President Bush II that kind of massaged this, made it a little better, made it more inclusive, opened it up and defined what a disability is for more people, right?
Right. The law was passed by Congress in 1990 and signed by President George H.W. Bush. But absolutely, Bush II kind of refined, gave that law a little more oomph, a little more weight, if you will.
Is there something that you think that we still need to work on as far as accessibility or anything that you can think of offhand, and maybe in your daily?
I'll tell you what we do at Youth Challenge is adaptive sports for people with physical disabilities. And every day, we go out and we see people who should be able to compete in sports like others. And the OHSAA here in Ohio, they've done a great job of now including wheelchair athletes, but there's so much more that can be done. We have a number of sports teams at Youth Challenge, and it's great to see that we have people with disabilities who are now competing on teams where years ago that would be unthought of, for people to be on teams like you and I may have been in our childhood. And that's what we try to present at Youth Challenge. Then going forward, we want to build confidence. We want to build a feeling of I can. And that's really the important thing going forward. There are going to be obstacles, but for the young generation looking forward, it's important to them to be able to understand that they have the tools to surpass those obstacles.
Youth Challenge is an important organization too. Obviously, that's another thing you're representing here today. There at youthchallengesports.com, kind of looking at your website here and seeing the wide variety of programs that you offer. What sort of sports are kind of the popular things right now?
You know what? We have a number of teams headed to Chicago in 2 weeks. The ADA, we're going to be represented. Youth Challenge is going to be represented during Parade the Circle on June 13th. Our sports teams are going to be in Chicago at the Great Lakes Games, and they compete in track and field, swimming, a sport called boccia, which is an adapted sport. Think bocce ball.
I was hoping that was involved. Yeah.
It's an outstanding sport. Our whole team's headed out there. Powerlifting. We have some young ladies and two young men who are big into the powerlifting thing, and it's a chance.
None of this really would be capable if this wouldn't have come into legislation.
Yeah, we work with U.S. Paralympics, which is under the auspices of the USOC, and think adapted sports. U.S. Paralympics is around and is thriving, and in large part because of the ADA.
It's Cleveland Connection on a Sunday morning. I'm Dave Ramos. Chris Garr is here with me talking about the Americans with Disabilities Act. A big celebration happening a little later on this summer, July 22nd. I think that's the first day. No, that's not the first day of summer. June is the first day of summer. I should know this. I'm on the radio. I talk for a living, but whatever. There is it's kind of in conjunction with Wade Oval Wednesday, happening at the same time there on the east side, University Circle AD. But you've been celebrating all year long, though, right?
We've had a number of events. Like I said, Parade the Circle on June 13th is one of those events. A couple weeks ago, we were out at the Spire Institute in Geneva celebrating youth sports for people with disabilities and educating the public on what adapted sports are. We have an event June 22nd at the Cleveland Zoo, so come see us there. July 9th, Best of Accessible Cleveland at the Intercontinental Hotel. The Dancing Wheels Company in school helped us out. In April, on April 25th, they had a performance called Rhythm and Wheels with a cast member from the off-Broadway production of Stomp. That was absolutely phenomenal. So the last few months we've been celebrating with smaller events, but that culmination really is July 22nd at Wade Oval. And as a matter of fact, University Circle Inc. has been extremely generous. By having us out, piggybacking with Wade Oval Wednesday. The band for Wade Oval Wednesday that evening is a band called Flame. They're from New York, and all of the musicians have disabilities, and they are phenomenal. So, people come to Wade Oval Wednesday because the music is outstanding, the vibe is great. Everyone on their lawn, on the lawn, in their chairs, with their blankets, with their picnics, chilling. Come and see Flame that evening, 6 to 9, after the big ADA celebration in the afternoon.
This is something to put on your calendar for July 22nd, the evening thing, right? Is it starting late afternoon into evening?
Our ADA celebration is starting, really kicks off at 10:30.
In the morning, great.
Yeah, Mayor Jackson's going to kick us off. We've got a number of awesome speakers and some live performances. That's in the or late morning, so about 10:30 to about 4 p.m. We're going to take a little break between 4 and 6, and then Wade Oval Wednesday traditionally starts at 6 p.m. That concert by Flame will go from 6 to 9.
What a great time. Now, the nomenclature of disability, I know that we've evolved over the years as far as that. What is the terminology we're using today? Is that acceptable? Is it, I mean...
Sure. I mean, persons with disabilities is where we like to go. We like that person first language. We used to say disabled people, handicapped people.
That defines you, and that's not,
It's the person. The person happens to have a disability. And that disability is recognized by the ADA. But it certainly doesn't, and this is the beauty of the ADA. It certainly doesn't mean that person should not have access to the same things that someone who does not have a disability should have. So that the ADA is about education, it's about employment, it's about transportation, and providing access for people. So in terms of language, stay away from handicap.
Right.
Stay away from cripple.
Yeah.
Go with person with a disability, or better yet, just person.
Just person. Yeah. I like that. I like that better of all of them. So this thing starts at 11 a.m. Ish. The mayor will be there doing an introduction. July 22nd, we're celebrating 25 years of the Americans with Disabilities Act. All the social media links at cbscleveland.com/connection. Any other groups that I saw that you did work with the Achievement Centers for Children back in May at your sports event. Such great people there. Peggy Zone. Amazing woman. Have had her on the show a couple of times. Who else is coming to the event in July?
We've got a great list of planning organizations who have really kicked things off. We can't do this without the great financial support, particularly the Cleveland Foundation. With an amazing and generous grant that they provided so that we could do this and provide this access for people. But our planning organizations, the Achievement Centers for Children, the Adams Board, the ARC of Greater Cleveland, Art Therapy Studio, BVU, Business Volunteers Unlimited, the City of Cleveland, Department of Aging, Cleveland Hearing and Speech, the Cleveland Sight Center, the County Board, Cuyahoga County Board of Developmental Disabilities, Dancing Wheels Company and School, Easter Seals, Help Me Grow of Cuyahoga County. LEAP has been outstanding, hosted our monthly meetings. Let's Linking Employment Abilities and Potential. That's LEAP. New Avenues to Independence, Maximum Accessible Housing of Ohio. Services for Independent Living, SIL. UCP of Greater Cleveland, United Cerebral Palsy. VGS, that's Vocational Guidance Services. Welcome House. Western Reserve Area Agency on Aging, and finally us, Youth Challenge. And those are all nonprofits in and around Cleveland and public entities who have come together. And what it's done is it's created this celebration of the ADA, but probably more importantly, going forward, new ways to collaborate between these agencies who are all doing exceptional things here in Greater Cleveland.
I'm glad that you got to mention all of those, because without any or all of those organizations, this celebration really wouldn't be possible. Again, July 22nd on Wade Oval, it is the celebration of the Americans with Disabilities Act right here in Cleveland. You got a hashtag going on or what?
Yeah, hashtag ADA25CLE.
Makes sense. You can tweet that. They're on Facebook and Instagram, and more importantly at the website adacleveland.org. Anything we left out? Anything that we need to mention here? Other than and give why don't you give Youth Challenge a plug too, and tell us how we can get involved with that.
Youth Challenge is very unique because what we do is we provide adaptive sports. That's not so unique. That's been going on for a while now, but we do it with teenage volunteers. So if you're a teenager between the age of 12 and 18, you want to volunteer and make a difference. All of our programs, we partner teen volunteers with people with physical disabilities, young people, and we do it through sports to build relationships. We're on Twitter, YC Sports 1976. youthchallengesports.com is our website. We're kicking off our summer programs. We'll do 350 programs per year after school during the school year. Kind of turns into a camp situation, but we also have services for young adults moving forward and becoming more independent. I would like to say, Youth Challenge is going to be providing shuttle service for people with disabilities. So if you have, if you're in a wheelchair and you need access to Wade Oval, and Youth Challenge is going to be able to provide that day. So give us a call if you have questions. 440-892-1001 at Youth Challenge. Talk to me. I'm Chris. 440-892-1001. If you're wondering how can I get there that day, where am I going to park that day, we have shuttle services. University Circle's been great. Motor Cars Mobility is going to provide some shuttles from the VA lot and some of the other parking lots nearby. So we want it to be as accessible as possible because it's in the spirit of the ADA.
And and with that, RTA too.
RTA,
Without ADA,
yeah.
you wouldn't be able to get on
Yeah,
RTA.
you see those paratransit
Yeah,
buses? That's a result of living proof that the ADA exists and is working well.
And that health line certainly is a shining
Absolutely.
example of it too, right there down the street on Euclid Avenue. All right, I appreciate your time, Chris Garr. You do great work. You're quite
Thank you, Dave.
knowledgeable about what's going on, and I think that you could maybe host this show, judging by your microphone technique is fantastic, and I didn't even have to move any levels around.
I try to have a compelling voice, Dave.
Will you come back again and talk next quarter?
Would love to.
Great.